Okay, so we'll move on now to the background vocals and harmonies that are used on this song. And these are a really important part of the song. They just help to fill out the space and create such a nice feel to the song. And I'll quickly play you what they sound like when they're all in. So just unmute these here.
Today, and take your bag and unpack it. You gotta be comfortable here when you stay. Oh yeah. Open up your Xbox and play. Oh yeah. I never get tired of you. It's probably the way that you do me. My heart is on fire, oh yeah. Keep doing what you do to me.
Solo these parts so you can hear them even better. So we got some stuff like this.
Trying to fight back. You know I like that. Ooh.
And then more kind of harmonies here that come in on the chorus.
Do you think about me the way I think about you?
So that hopefully just gives you a taste of what kind of backgrounds and harmonies we've got going on here. Now for all of these tracks, you see here there's 3 here, and 4 here. I'm not going to go into what I did on the actual track itself, the channel itself, because as you'll see, it's very similar to how I treated the main vocals, which we've already kind of gone through. There is a little bit more auto-tune. The speed is faster on these than it is on the main vocals. On the main vocals, it was at 30 and it's at 15 on these. I think that's the case for all of them. Yeah, so all of these, we have the tune speed set twice as fast as it is on the lead vocal. But apart from that, all of the kind of main processing is the same. We're just reducing some of that low end rumble. We're de-essing a little bit, compressing, and then even here on the buses, it's quite similar. Compression, de-essing, a little bit different with the Pro MB. So we'll get into that as well, the kind of differences. But first of all, let me just play you what these sound like before any processing and then after.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
And then with the processing.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Now for all of these backgrounds and harmonies, unfortunately, I didn't have sort of right and left duplicates. So what I like to have usually is sort of, you see here, we've got sort of high, mid and low. But I like to have a set of at least 2 of these so that I can create stereo width with them. So I would pan one to the left, one to the right of each one of these. But because we've only got 1 of each of these rather than 2, on the mid and the low, I've used this Real ADT plugin, again by Waves. Links for this will be in the description. And this basically creates a fake stereo, creates a fake double. So I'll play you before and after with this on.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
It mimics having a double track which you pan left and right. It's not as good, it's not as nice, but it's still, for me, a better option than just having these in mono. So I've used that on this low channel as well. So the mid and the low background or harmony is using the Real ADT. I've left the high in mono, so the high channel is completely mono. There's no stereo width on that. Now, the only thing I've done different here in the processing is on this Pro MB, I've reduced the mid-range somewhat.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Here when you stay.
So I wanted these to sit further back in the mix, not be so present. So I've got kind of a smiley curve, EQ curve going on here. I like to boost the lows a little bit sometimes in my harmonies and backgrounds so they add some nice warmth and some depth to the low end there. So I've boosted that, and I've also got this little boost here on the high end. But as you can see, the mid-range is reduced a little bit, so we've got this kind of smiley curve. And for me, that just kind of helps them to sit in the background and feel more rich and kind of luscious in the background rather than being super present and competing with the main vocal. I've actually used the delay plugin on the actual bus for these backgrounds and harmonies, just on a 7%.
Ooh, yeah,
So you hear that little tail of the delay happening there. Again, just liked how it sounded. You know, I'm not afraid of adding plugins to my actual buses or even my channels. You know, I don't always use kind of sends and effects buses to do this. Sometimes I'll slap it directly on the channel or the vocal bus here. No harm in doing that whatsoever. The other thing that's different on these is, as you can see, I've used the vitamin here by Waves to kind of boost the low end and the high end, again, that kind of smiley curve EQ that I was talking about. But this is using like a harmonic excitement distortion to create that effect.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
You see when that's on, it just kind of adds a little bit of kind of low end excitement there.
Do you think about me? Do you think about me? Do you think about me? Do you think about me?
It's quite subtle, but it's just boosting the kind of low mids and the high there, adding some air with that. The only other real difference here in terms of how I've treated the sound of these BVs and harmonies on this particular bus here is I've used a different reverb. I've used a much longer reverb on these. So I've sent these out to bus 25. Again, using Vintage Verb by Valhalla, but as you can see, the decay is a lot longer at 4.3 seconds, and there's no pre-delay on there as well. So this just helps it to really swell in the background, and again, puts them kind of further back in the mix, but also makes them sound kind of luscious and grand in the background. So I'll turn this off and then turn it on, and you can see the difference.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. 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 Ooh, yeah, yeah.
So other than that, they're treated pretty similarly to the lead vocal. Obviously, in terms of levels, they're a lot lower in the mix than the lead vocals. And I've used automation here, as you can see, to just kind of turn them up and down as the song progresses throughout different parts of the song. That's really important as well with background vocals like this. They're not going to want to be always at the same level. You're going to want to kind of manipulate that and change that as the song goes on. As you can see here, certain phrases have come up in the mix. Certain phrases are lower. I'll play you a bit from down here just so you can see what I'm getting at there.
Baby, do you think about me? Yeah, the way I think about you. Do you think about me still? The way I think about you.
So really important to get the levels right on these. They want to be sitting further back in the mix than the main vocal, but at times they're going to want to come up and kind of take the place of the lead vocal, like here, where it's quite loud.
The way I think about you.
Because at that point in the song, the lead vocal is almost playing the part of an ad-lib, and these become almost like the main vocal.
Do you think about me still? Oh, the way I think about you still.
Move on to down here with these BVs, and I've treated these slightly differently. Similar in the sense that they've all got this real ADT plugin on that I mentioned earlier. All three of them have got this on, so it's just creating, again, a kind of fake double and creating some stereo width from them.
Ooh, yeah.
So with these, I've actually left more of the mid-range in. I wanted these to sit slightly more present in the mix.
To me.
Sounding really sweet. Same kind of settings on the vitamin. Boosted even more high-end glisten on there, as you can see. But then what I've also added to this stack of BVs is a tremolo. Now this is a little bit of an unusual choice. I don't recall really doing this before on anything, but I must have tried it on this and just liked it. So this is sort of acting as like a panning plugin, and it's kind of panning the BVs between the speakers, but on a shallow depth here, so it's not super excessive. It's not going all the way to one speaker or the other, but it's just kind of softly moving them between the speakers. So I'll play you with this on and off, and hopefully you can see the kind of subtle difference. Yeah, so it's kind of just adding a little bit of modulation. It just adds a different kind of texture to these vocals that I just liked when I tested it out. And sometimes we just stick with what sounds good in the moment, you know. We'll move on here to these fills, and I just want to play you them with the song. I'm going to mute these BVs and just play you what these fills are doing so you can get a sense for that.
Take off that jacket, tell me what's happening today. I'll take your bag and unpack it. You gotta become part, yeah. Just let me part, yeah. Just let me.
So these are kind of like not really a call and response, but just kind of little backing fill-ins that are just going throughout the song. Really nice touch for the song.
It's probably the way that you do me. My heart is on fire, oh yeah. Keep doing what you do.
So my main objective with working on these was just to make them sound different to the main vocal in some way, to add a different kind of texture so that they sit somewhere else in the mix, and they're kind of a little bit of ear candy. So as you can see, they're panned quite strongly left and right, those two.
Not trying to fight back. You know I like that.
And what I've done with them is basically added this plugin. I really like this plugin, Lo-Fi Oddity. I believe this is a free plugin as well, so get this if you haven't got it. And this kind of just adds a vintage or a lo-fi vibe. I'm going to exaggerate this as I play it so you can get a feel for what it's doing, because as you can see right now, the mix knob is down here at 35-ish, but I'll turn that up so you can feel what it's doing.
Not trying to fight back. Not trying to fight back. Not trying to fight back.
Back down to 35.
Not trying to fight back. You know I like that.
So basically it adds some digital corruption here, a little bit of a kind of strange reverb going on with this knob here, a kind of tape distortion, kind of lo-fi old school dial there, and then a weird kind of compression. Now when you turn all of these up and leave the mix on full, you'll see that this plugin can be used to kind of create quite extreme sounds. But for this, it is quite subtle, but I feel like it just helps to add a different texture, like I say, to these fills and separate them, differentiate them from all the other vocals in the track.
Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. You got me, take off that jacket. Tell me what's happening today. I'll take your bag and unpack it. You gotta be comfortable here when you stay. Oh, yeah.
And again, you just see the automation that's going on here.
Jackpot, yeah. Just let me know when you.
They go louder there because they're kind of filling. There's nothing much going on in the main vocal there. It kind of comes to an end, so it's nice to just have that bit poking through there.
Jackpot, yeah. Just let me know.
Yeah, so you'll see, even here, I'm using the automation to kind of create a kind of crescendo on these BVs here. So they're going up as the song progresses.
You know when you're ready to play. Yeah, I never get tired of you. It's probably the way that you do me. My heart is on fire, oh yeah. Keep doing what you doing to me. Oh yeah, what you doing to me. But I want.
So quite subtle, but changes in volume like this with automation just really help to make the mix sound more dynamic, and it may not be immediately kind of noticeable to the listener, but it just helps the track, like I say, to keep some of that natural dynamics that would be in a real performance, to kind of add that in your mix, so things are not just sitting where they are stagnant. You know, you're creating little changes throughout the song, which just help to keep the song sound more alive, you know.